So we didn't see the device physical right now. It's built, it's behind the curtain, but they have, as I understand it, some issue with painting the shell, so it's not dry. So that's the reason why they didn't bring it up. You will see it tomorrow. That's what they promised me. Now, next team is Team 5. They will be. They have 5 minutes to set up, so you can stretch a little bit if you want, and then we will start the presentation. Okay, Team 5, you have 45 minutes, like everybody else. You can go ahead. Six. No, I didn't tell them to go out. Stretch one in our place. Could you come back in the room? It's not the break yet. I just asked you guys to stretch on your spot there. Could you come back? All right. Team 5, you come in. Please welcome Team 5. Who's talking? You will need both or only one? Let's go. That's the green is up forward. Okay.
Okay. Good morning for everyone. I'm Lucas Makil, leader of Fei University, and together with Korea University, PSG College, and MSRUAS, we will represent Team 5, and we will present about our project called Vita. I will start saying about customer insight. Baby boomers generation said people born between 1946 to 1960. That is the post-war generation. This generation is considered important since they have a huge contribution in a building up economy post-World War. Selling a product to the baby boomers is not easy since they consider more convincing and reason unlike other generation, where the sales of the product can be influenced by the trend. Summarizing the insight, they need a product which would be capable of would be of acceptable price. The product should be capable for their usage, and the product should be reliable and comfortable. India is considered to be the second largest population next to China, contributing about 17% of the world population. China is now the leading in population, but at this rate, India is said to surpass China in 2020 to become the largest growing economy. The population has risen from 359 million in 1950, expected to hit 1,340 million in 2020. India's economy and social performance, especially in the last 2 decades, have generated some optimism about country's future. It has been considered an emerging nation with prominence on the world stage. But even with high levels of poverty, it has present high economic growth rates, which has made possible an increase in the Human Development Index. Currently, India stands in 60 economic growth with a nominal GDP of 2.64 trillion and with a purchasing power of 48 trillion. Due to its huge population, the congestion and the pollution levels are increasing in these countries, which forces the government to push towards electric mobility. One of the examples would be high pollution levels in Delhi and Peking. Moving towards electric mobility is considered to be one of the solutions. According to the report, 9 out of 10 people in these cities breathe high polluted air, and the pollutants include sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, and other harmful gases. The National Electric Mobility Mission Plan 2020 aims to promote hybrid and electrical vehicles in India. It expects a sales of 6 to 7 million hybrid and electrical vehicles on road. This can save up to 9,700 million liters of crude oil in future, which accounts for the 5,000 core INR. Unlike India, China is well developed or rapidly developing in case of electric mobility, accounts for the 44% of EV production in the world. China's infrastructure is still growing and can be better utilized, while India has a long way forward still, though it has more advancements in the recent years which require both time and the infrastructure. India, one of the major reasons that most of the exotic vehicles fall is the road condition. The road condition in India is so unpredictable and is sometimes so uneven that the vehicles need to be specifically engineered with a required ground clearance and stiffer suspension. India still need a better control over traffic deaths. Nearly 230,000 deaths are recorded through road accidents. Driving cycle in India has a rapidly varying and unstable driving condition. Driving cycle is nothing but the cycle of acceleration, braking, clutching, and disclutching for a particular distance. This can be measured for every region or city, and this actually indicates the full economic of particular region and also the performance of the car. The project's primary target is the baby boomers. Solutions are being provided to access to the medical facilities in daily commutes and other transportation facilities. Reliable and be price efficient should be able to adjust to the health and driving condition, ergonomical, suitable, and require less maintenance and informed from driver. elderly population constitutes about 15% population of India, and it's necessary to study their behavior towards mobility and completely understand their needs. Health factors affect greatly in the social and the economic status of the person. According to WHO, above the age of 65 most, there is a 30% increase in the spread of non-communicable disease such as heart disease, arthritis, dementia. When design a product, to following factors should be kept in mind so that product is successful. Economy, elderly population has a great impact on the economy. For example, increase the dependence ratio will increase the number of people claiming for pensions and other benefits. Elderly abuse refers a single or repeated act or lack of appropriate actions occurring with any relationship where there is an expansion of trust which cause harm or distress to an older people. According to the report, about 15.7% of the elder out of 60 are abused. It is the tendency of elderly people or the condition in which they live less connected and isolated from the social environment and tend to live alone. Better medical centers and elderly villages are to be set up by the government to support such isolated individuals. One of the major measures is the moving into the elderly environment called as either caring homes. Autonomous vehicles, this is a perfect example of the newest automobile definition, software on wheels. This concept is driverless vehicle which use less or no effort from the passenger. These use various sensors and intelligent algorithms to guide the vehicle to drive itself. Connected vehicles. This technology connect various cars using Internet of Things and can make them interact with another. Hyperloops, it is a special type of intercity transportation. The concept of this is basically there will be zero drag when the vehicle is moving on vacuum. And vehicle ownership is considered the growth population. It is necessary to reduce the number of vehicles operating in the roads to reduce the pollution and traffic. The next present will talk about concept and development. Thank you.
Hello, I'm In Jong Young from Korea University. I will present the concept development. The first part is market segmentation. Our target is the elderly, the generation of baby boomers in India. Lots of them have social and economic problems, and they are suffering from loneliness and isolation. We collected information, impressions, and views from selected elderly from across India by survey. Second is sales plan. We will set prices based on demand and strive to capture the market. To dominate the market, we will set a reasonable price, gain large scale up market, and convey an image of the services available anywhere. Also, because they are not economically compatible, we plan Beta as a shared form such as city bike, and it will be realized by a mobile map BetaGo. What is BetaGo? BetaGo is a bridging app on which Beta is based, enabling users to access data. It also uses maps and GPS to help users rent and return the Vita wherever desired locations around the users. It will also update SOS contacts with the location of the vehicle. The Vitago is created keeping in mind the baby boomers, so it could be easily logged in and the user interface is easy and clear to make. The next one is the marketing plan. Development of the company in a competitive market can be achieved by customer satisfaction and the quality which is the result of the sum of their satisfaction. Therefore, Team 5 aimed to provide Vita with high quality, safety, incredible design, and high technology, providing comfort. This is a picture of pre-concept. In pre-concept, standing up type was going forward and sitting type was going opposite direction. It was difficult to cross the obstacle because the rear wheel was too small. Also, when the opposite sitting type, it could be dangerous because the center of mass was concentrated at the front. This fact were pointed out last year's feedback, so we came up with a new design. The next presenter will introduce the final concept. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, I'm Seung-Jun Moon from Korea University. Let me show you our concept of beta. In the overall framework, the concept of beta we considered is as follows. We designed the holding grip for carrying beta when it is folded and safe driving, and the LED-based headlights for night driving. We designed the battery room in the front part of the beta and the door to make it easy to insert or remove the battery. The cover of the wheels can be opened to check the motor in the wheel because we used in-wheel motor for beta. A button in the picture calibrates the holding calipers as per smartphone size. The smartphone can be linked with beta to use BetaGo. There are battery unit and foot grips too. After we got the whole concept like this, we had a lot of worries about how to fold beta. As a result, we came up with 4 concepts as follows. First, concept 1. The photo on the left is the prototype in the riding mode. When folded as shown in the right picture, the support of the chair is folded and becomes part of the bottom plate. The advantage of the concept 1 is that it is easily foldable. The following is concept 2. The photo on the left is the riding mode. When folded as shown in the picture on the right, on the left, on the middle, the chair becomes part of the bottom plate. The chair was designed to use cylindrical joint so that it could be bended, fixed, and folded. To finish folding, lifting the bottom plate up as shown in the picture of the right, and putting the wheel in the smartphone mounting space. The chair was designed to be installed at a right angle by pressing the button and pulling it out of the floor. The next is concept 3, which is a slightly modified version of concept 2. The rest is same as concept 2, except that the chair is made from a portion of the front plate. When folding prototype 3, part of the front plate is attached to the hollow space of the bottom plate as a chair. The concept 4 is the current version of folding beta. It is equipped with a chair that can be folded as shown in the figure. The advantage of concept 4 is that people can lean on the chair so that people feel relaxed. Concept 4 folding method is as follows. First, loosen the lock and fold it as shown in the right picture. And remove the stopper. Finally, when the base is folded, it is completely folded. The reason why we pick concept 4 out of concept 1, 2, 3, and 4 is the same as this slide. The concept 1, 2, and 3, where holes are created in the floor when assembling a chair, could create fatal problems. In concept 1, The angle and the length of the folding mechanism are difficult to match, and chair of concept 2 is unstable because the supporting point of the chair is at the back of the chair. Concept 3 is uncomfortable for our target to sit because of the clothes which our target wear. Since concept 4 is more stable and easier to manufacture than the alternatives, we determine it as a final concept of beta. Thank you for listening my part, and please welcome the next presenter who will show you engineering analysis.
Hello, my name is Vinicius and I'm from Fei University, and I'm presenting the video's suspension part. The suspension is very important in our prototype because it will provide comfort and safety to the user. The independent suspension in each axle minimizes the communication of a wheel with the other of each axle. That is, when passing for an obstacle, the wheel of the opposite side is not affected. Constituted of a flexible and low-cost material, the bar absorbs the irregularities of the track with its proposed elastic energy, excusing to the use of springs and shock absorbers. Multi-link suspension is different from the most suspension types. The multi-links do not possess a standardized form of construction. Its arms can be constructed in the format and amount desired for each wood car bodies, reducing weight and busy space. Double wishbone suspension gain space by the possibility of great positioning of wheels in relation to ground. Two triangular arms overlapping straight to chassis or sub-chassis by silent sleeves are their main configuration, allowing a vertical arm movement. Spring beam is the classic system of suspension that finishes with the harness bag. Used for the majority of load vehicles, all loads are absorbed with elastics of materials made use in different spring beam layers. The MacPherson set consists of springs and shock absorbers by telescope in the four wheels of independent form in the front on wheels from arms to the back part. The shock absorbers are mounted in the vertical lines under trays. And here we have another types of suspension, like the air suspension, deliver excellent comfort and stability, however demands the installation of stock markets of air and compressor in the vehicle. The thread suspension have as a differential. The type of suspension is the regulation of the height of the vehicle. It possesses low cost and little application of extra weight. The hydropneumatic suspension is sophisticated way more. The system of damping with spheres of gas and fluid delivers comfort, stability, and possibility of regulating the height of the suspension in a compact set. And here we have the suspension components. Springs as their function not only define vehicle's actions as conduct, but also accumulate energy once forces received from ground contact are not dissipated. The untorsional bar is crosswise installed to the vehicle's axle, close to the suspension. It connects both arms of suspension, providing a necessary level dependency between wheels. The pivot is also used as articulation point located between steering arm and axle, and the sleeves are responsible to enable and transmit movement from the arms to chassis. Consequently, are positioned in articulation points of suspension structure. The selection of the suspension mechanism was based on the following considerations: functionality, space efficiency, comfort, flexibility, low manufacturing cost, and easy of assembly. After consideration of the different aspects, a double wishbone high mount was selected due to its goods relation, comfort, performance. After advantageous position between the wheel and the ground and space efficiency. As a result, the luggage compartment can have more space and the driver get more comfort and stability when driving. The upper and lower wishbone have 106 mm from knuckle to chassis connector with the angle relative to the horizontal being parallel to each other. The distance from the upper to lower control arms bushings that connect to the knuckle is 60.6 mm. The spring or shock angle are 83 degrees relative to the horizontal. The rear suspension is basically a lower bar that connects the chassis to damper and an upper bar that connects the push rod to damper, thus connecting the rear suspension system. The rear suspension was designed based on a bicycle suspension if it's a model with only one rear wheel. To choose and construct a suspension, many factors were analyzed, considering facts such as low price, easy maintenance, a solid structure, stability and drivability that leads to a high security approbation by engineers. Wishbone suspension was chosen. Characters related to low weight and flexibility, it is going to be carried around, so a great suspension is the one whose do not provide difficulties when folding to enter in a bus, for example, are obtained. In terms of maintenance, spare parts are easily reached, so it hosts installation process, although lubrication is no longer necessary. Wishbone configuration has no many components wastage. In resume, wishbone good distribution of efforts allow to lighter structure and easy make alterations to adapt itself to the project. The next presenter is going to talk about ergonomics. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Leonardo Neto. I'm representing FE University and I will talk about ergonomics. Ergonomics is a scientific discipline concerned with the understanding of interactions among humans and other elements of a system. And my the creation of new theories, design, and methods is in order to optimize human well-being and overall system performance. For our vehicle development, understanding the influence of ergonomics on the overall design and its functionality is crucial. Market research explains that customers prefer products with better design, price, comfort, and positive improvement. That's where ergonomics comes in. Here we have some topics that are important to have a good ergonomics. Sitting ergonomics. During drive, most parts of the body weight lies on the relative small seated surface. As the sitting area is one of the most sensitive regions of the body, the act of sitting often leads to discomfort, numbness feelings, and posture problems. So this explains why the sitting action is really important. Foot ergonomics. The foot is the part of body which provides the first contact to the ground. In a normal and healthy foot, the arcs play the role of dampening the impact of the body weight during a walking, reducing the load peaks on joint. To reduce the impact, there are some issues which may be used for lowering these problems by distributing the force more balanced on the foot. Seat ergonomics. The seat is one of the most important factors to have a good ergonomic vehicle. To get a high level, the weight distribution should be transmitted uniformly to sensitive point, make that not uncomfortable. Steering wheel ergonomic. One of the most sensitive body parts is the hand. Because of its fragile and complexity from lots of nerves who runs through, hands are crucial and careful parts of body. Moreover, is also less protected. Having low fat and muscle involvement, becoming more vulnerable to pressure load. Tire ergonomics. Considered as an important need of security, the right choice of tire can also bring more comfort for passengers. There are three types. On-road, mostly used in cities. Off-road, mostly used in roads or mud trails. And mixed, ideal for both kinds of soil. And now the final consideration. Vita's consuming market are elder people, so consider their specifications and needs. Improvements were made for a more ergonomic seat and use their own tire, concerned that the focus of Vita is the urban area. A larger seat will not only provide more comfort and better posture, but also avoids possible failures because of their stability provided by a bigger distance from seat CG. A back support helps in weight distribution, which means not having an area of concentration. The biggest concern about the driver's position is the feet support, which handles the brake pedal. Seat must go in front, back, up, and down directions. Driver's height related to the panel has to be punished. The higher, better the visual field will be. In resume, it's necessary to have a good seat height to the ground in order to feel comfortable to majority people. Proper grips, keeping the tensions distributed more widely through the hand. When seated, the feet must touch entirely the ground, so that there are no foot zones overcharged by weight. Suitable seat inclination and facility in getting on and out the vehicle. All these things will make a Vita an ergonomic vehicle. The next presenter will talk about the electronic components of the motor and battery. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicolas, and I am representing FEI University from Brazil. First, I am going to present the calculations of the electronic components of the motor and battery. In order to calculate the required torque and power for the motor, it is necessary in the first instance to determine the worst load distribution situation in the vehicle, the one that requires greater effort of the motor, and evaluate it through the calculations. Therefore, it is necessary to analyze the vehicle in stationary condition and in movement conditioning ramp. The axle loadings equation on a vehicle under arbitrary conditions is a first simple application of Newton's second law, where the equation takes into account the analysis of the forces of the action and reaction on the tires in relation to the CG of the vehicle. The forces acting on a vehicle under ramp conditions are represented in the figure. From the deductions of the analytical geometry, you have that the relationship between the perimeter and the angular variation of the rotational movement is in del P is R multiplied by del theta, where del P represents the variation of the perimeter, R represents the radius, and del theta represents the angular variation. Since the vehicle is stagnant, there are no aerodynamic forces, rolling resistance forces, and acceleration, and there will be two motors acting on the front wheels only. In order for the vehicle to live in the resting inertia, it is necessary that is tractor force needs resistance forces, using the equation you can see, where W represents the total height, the total weight action on the CG, RXF are the rolling resistance forces, and FXF represent the tractor forces on the front rear wheels. The minimum torque required for the vehicle to start moving is 7.95 Newton meters. It is important to emphasize that the vehicle accelerates to the maximum allowed speed in the plane and starts in its ramp movement with constant speed, and remember that it will not be considered the force of aerodynamic resistance due to the low speed value. Estimating the rolling resistance coefficient as a constant of our passenger car's vehicle type riding on a concrete surface and adopting that a slow percentage of 8%, we have the maximum moment for a wheel with 76.06 newtons. After calculating that, we need to calculate the maximum torque required, and we have the maximum torque of 9.66 Newton meters. The maximum speed of Vita is 20 kilometers per hour, and we calculated both cases in 15 kilometers per hour and 20 kilometers per hour, but we are going to show the calculations of Vita with 15 kilometers per hour of speed. Assuming that speed, we have that to move 50 kilometers at once, we will need 3 hours approximately. In the same way, we calculate the power of 43.12 watts, the watt hours of 143.6, and the ampere hours of 3.9. As a result, we select one battery of 36 volts and 10.5 ampere hour. Thank you. Now the next presenter will be talking about the brake system.
Good morning, my name is Centro. I'm from FEI University and I will present about the brake system. We have a lot of types of brake system for mobile vehicles. Currently, the market offers the several types of brake from the simplest to the most complex. For the brake systems of Vita, we had to think about a number of situations. According to this, we concluded with our assistant professor that the best system to be used is the disc brake. The disc brake system offers more security than others due to the fact that this kind of system is more gradual and smooth, with enormous braking power. You can control very well the Vita and reduce the speed in hard and aggressive conditions of pylon with just one thing and without locking the gear. It is not necessary to do a lot of force, for example, like in a brake system by cable. For all these people, this is a useful and very important item. In our prototype, we needed to use a V-brake system. The width of the floor is very small to support the disc brake. But in that case, the V-brake answers very well because the engine and the weight are not so discrepant. So V-brake is enough. The next presentation will be about the manufacturing prototype. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Seongjuri from Korea University. Our topic is manufacturing prototype, and I will present about material that we used in our prototype. We determined the most preferred material for our prototype and ensure safety by the static analysis. To calculate the stress of each part, we assume the force and reaction force on Vita. We roughly estimate Vita's weight as 30 kg and passenger's weight as 70 kg. Then by using Adams, we obtain the first subject on each tire in steady state. The first graph shows the force applied to the front wheel, and its average is 320 Newton. The next graph is the force applied on the rear wheel, and its average is 680 Newton. The force used to the analysis is shown in the figure. We multiply the static load by 1.5 times in order to convert to the dynamic load. Each front wheel subject 240 Newton of load, and rear wheel subject 1020 Newton. By using NX Nastran, we got result of static analysis on arm, knuckle, front chassis, and floor chassis. When end of the arm was constrained, the resulting stress diagram are on the right. The largest stress in the arm is about 60 megapascal, and it is 25 megapascal in the knuckle, which is connected to the arm. In the part of front chassis, the overall stress is less than 32 megapascal, and it is quite small. As a result of floor chassis analysis, there are no significant stress on push load and rear wheel. The middle and end of the floor receive about 65 megapascal of stress, and the stress of 130 megapascal is subjected at the shaft connecting the suspension. This table shows the maximum stress applied on each part. Our purpose is to find material that can endure more than about 70 megapascal of stress and price comparative. Also, it should have lower density. This table shows the maximum stress applied on each. This picture shows material area with the variables such as yield strength, density, and price. The material in the red box have a reasonable price. After considering not only price but also density, there are two proper materials left. Regarding purpose of use, finally, we determined the used aluminum for our product body. We chose structural steel 400 as the arm, for it has good elastic modulus and shear strength. We determined to use aluminum for less stressed parts, such as front chassis, floor chassis, push load, and knuckle, because it is relatively easier to machine and has lower density. Since shaft is subject to very high stress, we use the stainless steel, which has high durability. To check whether material selection is appropriate for each part, we calculate the safety factor, which is the ratio between the braking strength and allowable stress. The safety factor of our prototype is over 4, so it is safe for fracture. The next speaker will present about more detail on prototype.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Charim, who is the leader of Team 5 and from Korea University. Today, I'm here to present about mechanism of prototype. Here's our final design of prototype. The rare market feature of the design is there's no steering system like bike or car. This is for elderly people. A lot of elderly have difficulties to use their shoulder. Therefore, we do not use handle like bike or car, but use joystick. Here's our, I will explain about each part of prototype. The first part is about front wheel. We choose BLDC wheel hub motor for the following reasons. BLDC motor has high dynamic response, high efficiency, and long operating life due to a lack of friction losses. Also, wheel hub motor has no transmission losses and advantages for maintenance. We use double wishbone high mount as a front wheel suspension system. Double wishbone allows the user to select and optimize their own geometry and has great grip force at the corner. High mount has little change of alignment comparing with low mount. Our rear wheel system is as shown. It consists of shock absorber, push rod, and wheel. The shock of rear wheel is delivered to shock absorber through push rod. Since the length of push rod and shock absorber is same, the amount of shock delivered to shock absorber is same as rear wheel. Shock absorber is important element to protect your driver from shock. The spec of its shock absorber is determined by considering the amount of shock needed to endure. We select brake to stop beta. Rim brakes are inexpensive, light, mechanically simple, and easy to maintain. Also, V-brake is one of the strongest brake of the rim brakes. Since the weight of prototype is light, V-brake would be enough to stop prototype. The next part is about how to drive the beta. To do it, we need to select a proper motor and battery. To calculate the power of motor, we consider loading resistance of two cases. The first case is on the flatland in 20 km per hour, and the second one is on the slope, which angle is 4.5 degrees in 13 km per hour. Through the calculation for the critical situation, we confirm the maximum power is 232.5 watt. Therefore, we choose the 350 watt BLDC motor. Next is about battery. We need to drive 50 km at once when we're fully charging. To calculate the spec, we assume the average speed as 15 km per hour and 20 km per hour. As a result, we choose the battery which capacity is 10.4 ampere hour. Here's schematic diagram of our model. When driver put input potentiometer, it delivered to Arduino Uno. This input data is processed to be able to use for driving motor. The digital signal from Arduino Uno is converted to analog signal in the AC. Finally, after the motor driver received this signal, motor could be moving. Our power system is as follows. The motor driver could receive 36 volts, but Arduino, DAC, and potentiometer should receive 5 volts. So we use regulator to feed the voltage to each other. Here's the steering method of our model. We use differential drive method, which means turning by using different speed of each wheel. So we designate the area of potentiometer like this slide. When driver put the potentiometer in area of 2 or 8, beta goes forward and backward. And each motor is driven with same speed in this case. When driver put joystick in area 4, 5, or 6, motor do not moving for driving stability. In area 1, 3, 7, or 9, speed of each motor is different. Therefore, beta could be turning. So far, we've talked about the model of Team 5 Beta. I'm convinced that Beta will be improve the mobility of elderly people in the future. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.